Joining us now to weigh in on Donald Trump's preparation for his second face-off with Hillary Clinton on October 9th, former presidential candidate and Trump senior advisor, Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Carson, good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
So what do you think about the debate and how it has changed things? Do you think that first debate moved the needle on votes?
I don't think it made a huge difference for Trump supporters or for Clinton supporters. For the people in the middle, I think it makes it even more confusing for them. So I'm glad that we have three debates. You know, a lot of people have criticized Donald Trump for, you know, not bringing up Benghazi and, you know, a bunch of the other scandals that Hillary Clinton was involved with. But he's still got two more debates to do that. And if he talks about it in all of the debates, they're going to say, he just keeps saying the same things over and over again. You know he's going to be criticized if he does it or if he doesn't do it. But the real key for him going forward is to be able to force Hillary Clinton to actually defend her positions and the positions of the Obama administration. They don't want to do that, so they're going to want to continue to run off into the little rat holes. He has not to follow them there, but to bring them back to the real topics, because they don't have a chance when it comes to talking about the real issues, and they know that.
Yeah, maybe, but that's what she did to him, right? She put him on defense from the get-go in that debate the other night. A lot of his allies were unhappy with his performance. What does he need to do differently?
Well, again, he needs not to follow her into the rat hole. He can certainly acknowledge something for a few seconds, but then he needs to pivot and talk about the real issues. How are we going to get the budget under control? What are we going to actually do to bring jobs back? You know, how are we going to fix the tax code, and what is the rationale for? He needs to explain the rationale for lowering taxes versus the deleterious effect on economic growth of raising taxes. He needs to talk about some specific regulations. Throw them out there. Show people these incredible things and what they do. You know, the employer mandate. What is the effect on job creation? You know, this country was built on small business, and now businesses, they get up to about 40, and they say, hope, don't want to go any further. You know, that is killing us. But a lot of people don't understand that. He needs to spend time explaining that to people.
Dr. Carson, it's Dagan McDowell. You're on message, but this morning Donald Trump was on Twitter in the wee hours of the morning, and some of what he was saying was related to that former Miss Universe and her past and Hillary Clinton.
Well, you know, the former Miss Universe, and that's the rat hole that I'm talking about.
Well, he went down it this morning, is what I was trying to quietly say.
Crowded down there.
You know, it's going to be so much better when he begins to focus on the real issues, because what we have to recognize is there is no way that Hillary Clinton can explain something good about raising taxes and about these incessant regulations, about what's happening with our school system, and why do Democrats, oppose school choice and voucher systems. Make her explain those things. There's a whole list of them. Make her explain them. It'll be a killer.
Right. It sounds great. Dr. Carson, James Freeman here from the Wall Street Journal. I thought that was the plan for this first debate. He certainly showed a lot of discipline over a few-week stretch there where he was making very substantive speeches, talking about economics, had a great speech to the New York Economic Club. Do you feel like he's focused on that message for the upcoming debate, or is this kind of a debate that you and others in the campaign constantly have to have with him?
You're going to see a different picture for these next two debates, and much more concentration on the issues. You know, you have to admit, from the way things have been over the last several months, he actually did a pretty good job in this debate. You know, he didn't really get, frustrated to the point where he completely went off the deep end. And when you look at what happened, $18 million raised in the next 24 hours, obviously a lot of people resonated with what he had to say. Can he do a better job? Absolutely. Will he do a better job? Absolutely. I don't think a lot of minds were changed.
Dr. Carson, good morning. This is Morgan. A lot of people look to you in the faith community because you're someone that stood out in the primary for, for your values and your virtues and your strong faith. Do you see those evangelical and faith voters coming home to Donald Trump? I know that you've been working on this the past few months. Where does Donald Trump currently stand with the evangelical community?
Well, I think a lot of people in the evangelical community are recognizing that he's the one who opposes the Johnson Amendment. He's the one who's standing strong, for religious freedom. He's the one who's standing, for traditional values in America. So I think, one of the problems has been people say, well, I don't like either one of them, and I can't choose between the lesser of two evils. But, we live in a world that is not perfect. Every single day when you get out of bed and you walk out of that door, you've got to choose between, the lesser of evils. You've got to make choices. That's why you have a brain. And when evangelicals sit down and they look at the two and they look at where they're leading us and they look at the Supreme Court and what's going to happen in the future,
right.
I think they're going to make the right decision.
So who does he really need to be doubling down on in terms of the voting blocs that he still needs? I mean, evangelicals, or is it more important to really try to speak to women and try to speak to Latinos? I mean, what does he need to do to really get those groups turning who have not been all in for him?
He needs to not act like Democrats who, are engaged in identity politics. This group versus this group, and let's give this one a favor. And, Hillary Clinton loves to say, I'm never going to raise taxes on the middle class. But the upper income people, yeah, we can screw them all we want. I mean, this kind of stuff doesn't make any sense. It's supposed to be liberty and justice for all. And what he needs to concentrate on are policies that are good for everybody. And I think that's what he's doing. But he is spending time talking about what's happening in minority communities, something that Republicans have done a poor job of in the past. And I think, he's emphasizing the things that he has been doing. I mean, look at his record on women and women employment. I mean, his campaign manager is a woman. I mean, it is so silly. And Hillary, who claims to be the great champion for women, accepting money and having relationships with these countries that treat women like dogs. Does that make any sense? I think women, men, minorities, everybody is smart enough, if they think about this, to sort it out.
All right, we will leave it there. Dr. Carson, are you intending on having a position within a Trump administration?
I do not want a government position. I've made that very, very clear. But I do intend to help. No question, I'm going to help.